All right, so these are Tiger Woods' 5 golden rules of golf, and we're going to run through these no particular order. Kyle, any guesses?
I think you need to play well off the tee, and you need to hit as many greens as possible. That's got to be the start, right?
I'm sure that's up there for him for sure, but we'll just get into it. His Tiger Woods' first golden rule of golf: no bogeys on par 5s.
That makes sense. I always marvel at, like, there's holes on certain courses where the handicap for it is way, low. Like, I think par 5 should be easy. You get extra shots to try to get to the green and get around the green. You should have a birdie look almost every par 5.
Yeah, and I think to that point, like if you make a bogey on a par 5, it feels like a double bogey to me for sure. It really does. But Tiger Woods' rule number 2 that he abides by: no 3 putts. That shouldn't be any surprise. Obviously, any good golfer, any world-class golfer like that, you have to avoid 3 putts. Pretty simple, and you see that said all the time on tour.
It's so funny that short game is like the last thing that golfers really get honed in on. I spent years trying to improve tee to green and all that, and I got to a point where tee to green everything was pretty good, pretty consistent. But then you get on the green and you have like 7 3-putts in a round. As soon as you start knocking those down, that's when you can shoot low 80s, high 70s, even if you're hitting it well.
So another one. This one's interesting. Tiger Woods' 3rd golden rule of golf: no blown easy up and downs.
Yeah, I mean, easier said than done when you're Tiger Woods and you have that short game, or really any PGA Tour pro. I mean, their short games are just unbelievable. But yeah, I mean, you're just in front of the green on the fringe, no bunker in front of you, anything like that, a simple chip. You should be able to get that within 4 feet, 3 feet maybe, to give yourself a look.
I think it's the single biggest difference that you notice with tour players is their ability to get up and down. I mean, those guys are so good where if they're off the green, if they miss the green, it's just no problem for them to have a chip and get up and down. I really do believe it's the biggest thing that I notice, biggest difference I notice between, a good golfer and a excellent golfer.
Right. There's also this fear of the sand that amateur golfers have where, I'm in the bunker, this is going to be a bogey. Whereas these guys are almost begging for the ball to go in the bunker because of the control that they have at their short game.
Especially in the U.S. Open, you see it all the time. A lot of guys prefer to play out of the sand than out of the rough, especially with how they grow that rough. But the next rule of golf, according to Tiger Woods, this is a pretty simple one: no double bogeys.
Yeah. As soon as you start eliminating some of the big numbers, again, that's another area you can improve. And all of a sudden, you're shooting low 80s or mid 80s instead of shooting in the 90s or something like that. If your worst score is, hey, a bogey, you're doing all right. And you're going to be able to put together a pretty solid round.
Yeah. One of the stats that always stands out to me is the golfer who averages a 93 versus the golfer who averages a 79. And the golfer who averages a 79 only actually makes 1 extra birdie per round compared to the golfer who averages a 93, but they're not making double bogeys. And that's if you want to get to single digits, if you want to get, towards a scratch golfer, the best way to do that, the best way to lower your handicap is to avoid double bogeys. And obviously that, of course, is even more important on tour as well. But the last rule of golf, according to Tiger Woods, this one probably is the most specific out of the 5 golden rules that he has, and probably one that you don't hear all the time, but it makes sense. That's no bogeys within 150 yards. What do you think of that?
See, that's the toughest part. I mean, you hit a great drive. You're theoretically in the middle of the fairway. You got 130 yards out. You got a wedge in your hand. And the amount of people, pros even, that still miss the green, it's astronomical. Like, it's a higher percentage than you would actually think. But those are the ones I think you get the most frustrated with. Like, you're sitting right there. You think, I can get close. I can give at least a 20-foot birdie look, something like that. And you miss the green. And then all of a sudden it could be bunker. It could be short game. You got to get up and down for that par. Like, those are some of the most frustrating shots and things that happen on the course.
It does feel terrible when you're in the middle of the fairway and you find a way to make a bogey. It feels like you are terrible at golf and I want to quit golf. But no, I get it. What he's saying, no bogeys within 150 yards. I think that obviously easier said than done. But what's crazy to me too is when you look at like tour average, and this isn't a direct stat, I'm paraphrasing here, but Tour average from 150 yards, I think proximity is like just around 40 feet is where they're putting it too. So
Right.
like for all the amateur golfers out there that think, oh, I just hit a shot from 150 and oh God, I'm 25 feet. I still got to try to make a long birdie or just two putt it. Like it's still a really good shot. All these pros are not hitting it to 5 feet every single time from 150 yards. I think the issue is not issue. It's just true. You know, when you watch golf on TV, you're watching the best players, the best week, the leaders, and you're basically watching a highlight reel on TV because they're showing the best shots.
Well, they don't show any missed putts. I mean, if they're
Right.
cutting to the 13th green, you know, the par 5, and it's an 18-footer, they're not showing that because they're going to miss. They're showing that because they're probably going to make it. So
Yeah.
it does create these unrealistic expectations. And I mean, I'm guilty of it all the time. You and I play together quite a bit, and I'll hit a shot. I'll hit the green, but I'll be, like you said, 40 feet away. And you'll look at me going, why are you pissed? You hit the green. Like, you're fine. You know, just two putt and get out of there.
Well, and what's crazy to me too is how the, make percentage on tour, make percentage putt from 8 feet and in is, well, actually, no, it's just the make percentage from 8 feet is 50%. But you'd think when you watch the tour on TV that those guys make every single one of them, because again, you're basically watching the leaders or a highlight reel. And you're right, when they cut to it, you know that ball is going to drop. But no, it's a good discussion. And just to recap real quick, Tiger Woods, 5 golden rules of golf: no bogeys on par 5s, no 3 putts, no blown easy up and downs, no double bogeys, and no bogeys within 150 yards. What one out of those, by the way, do you think is the most important that you focus on? Not that I'm comparing you to Tiger Woods, but
I focused on the 3 putt. Like, if you get on the green and you have a chance to just walk away with a par at worst, do not blow one past. Do not get too aggressive. Make sure that you're within that 3-foot friendly, radius where maybe your buddies will tell you to pick it up and take your par,
Right.
or, you can just tap it in and move on. But that's the big one for me. As soon as you knock out those 3 putts, your scores get much lower.
3 putts is for sure big for me as well. I mean, I'm such a great putter, I don't have to worry about it that much. But no, that's a joke, kind of. I would say by far and away the one that I've focused on the most and has been most important for my game is just avoiding double bogeys. And I tell everybody this, that wants to lower their handicap. Not that I'm some great player, but the best way that I've done it, and I've looked back on it, like to go from a 12 handicap to an 8 handicap really isn't tough. It's just not, and I know, again, easier said than done, but it's just about avoiding doubles. And if you can play around a golf and only make, 1 double, or if you make 2, whatever, then you're chasing another birdie. But if you just start avoiding double bogeys, it's the best and easiest way to lower your handicap. If you're in trouble off the tee, like my main focus has just been, if I'm in trouble off the tee, let me advance the ball up there around the green. Let me try to get up and down and save par. And if not, I'm just going to 2-putt and tap in for bogey and take my medicine and move on. But you got to start avoiding those 6s and 7s, because that's the best way to go from a 12 to an 8. And then obviously once you're like a 7 or an 8 handicap, then you do have to start, I think, focusing more on not necessarily chasing birdies, but just really honing in on those up and downs and making pars and just trying to score more,
Oh, there's no doubt. I mean, that's a massive piece of it, especially not just doubles, but, for amateurs, triples,
Right.
quads. I mean, man, talk about an entire round killer. If you card something, 4 over on one hole, you're grinding the rest of the day to try and make up for all those. And as amateurs, we don't have the ability, like these pros. Pros can go out there and go, okay, I got a double, a couple of birdies, and I'll be back. I'll get those ones back. We're not getting a ton of birdies every single round. So really, you're just trying to grind out pars to make sure you don't make the score actually worse.
Avoid the big numbers for sure. I think that's huge. And always love to see Tiger Woods' advice. I think he has some pretty good advice for people.
I also think, wear red on Sundays. I mean, I always play better when I wear red, on those weekend rounds that you're out there too.
He might not be wearing red anymore. We'll see.
Yeah. Stay tuned. Yeah. Where's he going to go? We'll find out.